So welcome to 2024 Marketing Trends. This is a webinar to go through some of the key things that we're seeing happening at the moment in the digital marketing realm. And I've split it out into three sections. So the first one is rethinking the role of AI. The second is the importance of first-party data. And the third is prioritizing relevance and experience. So we'll go through those in order. If you do have any questions on any of the points raised, please feel free to drop me a message on LinkedIn or an email at hello@ElizabethTaylorCoaching. Happy to answer any questions on any of this. Okay, so brief introduction to me. So my name is Elizabeth Taylor. I've got just over 25 years experience in marketing and training. So 12 of those are in the marketing and communications realm for the film industry. So I had the opportunity to work for companies like MGM and Warner Brothers and Universal Pictures. And then I moved into training and coaching, and I've been doing that for the last 13 years, and now have my own business in Singapore, where I offer digital marketing training and coaching to founders and business executives. So let's get started. So the first one is all around rethinking the role of AI. And for those of you that follow my content, you'll know this is probably my favorite topic to talk about at the moment. And it's not about ChatGPT, and it's not about using AI to write some content for us. This is going a little bit more in depth. So it's using AI as an integrated tool for your business, going past content and looking at some of the other areas where we can really use AI to our advantage. So AI should really be firmly a part of your marketing strategy. However, some research showed that only 30% of firms here are strategically positioned to harness the benefits. So lots of brands are starting to experiment with AI and moving beyond the kind of use of it just for content. But there's still a lot of room for growth. So my advice here would be, take into account the next couple of slides and the things we're going to talk through, and have a think about which of these you could experiment with for your business to learn a little bit more, because we're right at the kind of tip of the iceberg at the moment. This is going to develop further. It will be part of our daily lives fairly soon. So it's really, really important that we kind of understand how we can use AI to really maximize our marketing efforts. So the focus of 2024 is we want to deliver highly personalized real-time content. So we should now, with AI, be able to do that at scale. So whether this is on your website, on your emails, on your social media, you should be able to use AI to deliver content to people that's based on their interactions with you, their past purchases, how they're searching your website. And we should be able to give them real-time content. So I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later, but this is about content on your website being dynamic and changing based on how somebody's actually using that platform. So how can we do this? How can we integrate AI into everything that we do for marketing? So there's a couple of ways, and I'm going to go through them one by one. So there's optimizing your ad campaigns. There's using AI for data analytics. There's using chatbots for Q&A, SEO, so search engine optimization. And lastly, which I'm not going to cover off in too much detail, is creating marketing content. So if we start off looking at AI integration and how Google have used AI to help us make better ads, apparently. This happened last year, around about May time, when they launched this new service, which was called Automatically Created Assets, or ACA. So what this is doing, which I hope you can see on that screenshot there, is this was taking content from your existing ads, from your landing pages and your website. And it was taking this content and basically suggesting to you different headlines and descriptions that you might want to use for your ads campaign. Now, from my perspective, if you're not like a Google Ads full expert, this is a really, really good tool that we can use to spend less time creating these ads and hopefully get better results from them. So you can see here on this example, it says getting help creating your ad, and it's like a chat. It's like you're having a conversation with Google Ads. So it's suggesting things that you can mention. It's pulling copy and images from your website, and it's suggesting various different descriptions and headlines that you can use for your ad. So really helpful, right? So this launched last year, and what we're expecting to see for this year is going a little bit further. So we're now expecting Google to use AI to elevate this experience and change your ad based on the context of the customer's query. So I'll use an example to explain this a little bit better. So if somebody was searching for skincare for dry, sensitive skin, yeah, the ad that you show could say, soothe your dry, sensitive skin, rather than moisturizer for sensitive skin, right? So it's addressing a need, it's addressing the context of the search of that individual. So you wouldn't have to do anything here. You would just have to turn this capability on. And Google would use generative AI and dynamic AI to basically come up with all these different options. So already they are mixing and matching different options to optimize your ad the best they can. And this new layer is adding in context around that search. So this is part of their Performance Max campaigns. That's what it's called if you see it on Google Ads. So in addition to helping you with your copy and your search result when a query comes into Google, they've also launched an AI service to help you with your creative. So I'm going to share that on a video.
Sosa cat
food. Good for your cat. Buena para el planeta.
So I think that's a great little clip from Google there. So that's the new service that they offered midway through last year to help you with your creative. So again, if you don't like spending hours and hours Canva or Adobe making all these assets, you've got this power now through Google Ads by them using AI to generate images, to generate voiceovers, as you saw there, resizing videos. So really, really helpful to basically save you time and hopefully get you some better results. So that was Google and your search campaigns and how they're using their AI. Social media are doing the same thing. So this is the latest update from Meta. Now, they launched a new range of AI tools, I think it was mid-August last year, called Advantage Plus, mainly focused around shopping campaigns, which you can see highlighted there. And then they've basically tagged on some extra functionality for that just now, basically, so in the last couple of weeks. So I'll talk through what these two different things are. So the Advantage Plus campaigns are basically using AI to create a whole campaign for you in Meta. So it can optimize your targeting, your creative, and your placements. Yeah, so if you contrast that to what we just saw there with the Google stuff, the Google is looking at your descriptions and your headlines and your creative. I guess social media and Meta is taking it one stage further and helping you with your targeting here for social media advertising as well. So these Advantage Plus campaigns, theoretically, you have to give it minimal input. So you just have to give it your website, and obviously in the account would have any previous ad campaigns that you've run. it would take that information. It would also take external data input into the AI, which would look at customers' shopping habits, how people are using the platforms, what types of ads they're clicking on at the moment. And it would then set up the whole thing for you. Yeah, so you say whether you want it streamlined or tailored or best practices. You give it your goal. So whether that be getting more awareness, getting more clicks, getting more traffic to your website, and it will do everything for you. So I think this is kind of in equal measures brilliant and terrifying. A lot of ad agencies won't like this because, you know, it's good for us to have control over what we're doing with our ad spend. However, I think there is a part of me that believes that the AI technology that's available to us now has got so much more capability to really objectively analyze the data within that system, so in this case Meta, to suggest which ads would be best for our brand. So recently there was some data launched from Meta that showed that people that are using this type of ad saw a 32% increase in return on investment. And actually they've stated that this AI ad functionality is their fastest and biggest growing ad campaign sector yet in history basically. So this is saying that lots of people are using this, lots of people are taking advantage of this AI option, right? So that's the first thing, is these Advantage Plus campaigns can basically take all of the heavy lifting and use the data that they've got to set up your campaign. The thing that they've just added, which is new, is they kind of like the Google Ads clip that I just showed you there, is they've now included generative AI for 3 things. So changing your background. So I had a quick look at that earlier, and it's pretty basic, right? So it's just kind of textured or plain backgrounds for your products. Resizing, which is super helpful and saves you time again. So you can resize ads for different placements, whether it's going in stories or reels or messages or on the feed. You can get multiple versions of the ad. So if you want to change the headline, maybe you've got a shot of a person in there, you want to change that shot, you want to change the colors, that's fine. So it will give you multiple versions that will do it all for you. So they're the kind of 3 new tools that I think are going to influence how we use Meta to do our social media advertising. So moving on from Google Ads and social media ads and looking at data. So AI here is hopefully going to enable hyper-personalized customer experience, but at scale, right? So we've been able to do this before, whether it's with your website content or your email marketing. But what we've got now is we should be able to scale this up. So this is what I was talking about earlier with your website. So if I go onto your website, I might have a different experience to somebody else based on how I use your website, what words I'm searching for, which blogs I'm reading, what videos I'm watching. There'll be dynamic content on there, so it's completely personalized for me. Now, this is great because marketing is all about giving the customer what they want and connecting with them on a personal level. But the challenges with this are customers will now expect extreme personalization. So they will expect, if they're an existing customer of yours, that you'll know that, which goes slightly against the next topic we're talking about, which is first-party and third-party data. But they will expect through various different technologies powered by AI that you have all this information on them and you can adjust your messages based on context. And what that means for your customers is they have a more relevant experience. So this will just become the norm this year, right? Having hyper-personalized customer experiences. You can also use that data from AI for predictive analytics. So if you've got a whole bunch of data for your business or maybe your sector, you can use data mining and machine learning to have faster decision making and also in real time. So if you're running a big event or a big campaign, or you're pushing one of your programs and you want to know whether more consumers are likely to click on an ad that says this or that, or whether they're more likely to be on a certain platform, then you should be able to use AI to get a really, really quick decision. Now, this is going to be adopted, I think, by a lot of agencies, and 91% are going to use this tool for this purpose, according to a recent report from Agency Analytics. So moving away from data and onto conversational chatbots. So this isn't anything new necessarily. Chatbots have been around for a while, but the development for 2024 is really that they've become a lot more sophisticated. I was a little bit against chatbots when they first came out because I'd had a bad experience with them. They hadn't been very helpful. They'd actually hindered my journey with buying products from a certain company. But they're so advanced now that they can answer much more nuanced questions, right? So they can help you pull your customers through your marketing funnel. So you can guide people through the purchase. So they can replace your customer service team. They can replace you answering questions. They can also help you do things like generate lead gen forms. If you need to get, email addresses and phone numbers from people, you can do it through the chatbot. Also super helpful if you need to do things like translate your Q&A into multiple languages, or if you need to take payment, you can do that through a chatbot as well. And I read a report yesterday about how this is being used most in recruitment to qualify leads coming through for jobs, which I thought was fascinating. So definitely something to look at if you haven't considered it already for your website. Now, Sephora in Singapore tried this out last year. So they launched this chatbot kind of through sort of conversational marketing to help people go through that customer journey, right? So you would say, I'm interested in this lipstick. They'd say, okay, upload a photo. We'll show you what it looks like on you. And then do you want to see any other shades? Do you want to see any other products while you're here? So it's like your own personal shopping assistant, which personally I think is wonderful. And 6,000 people used it in Singapore last year, right? That's a lot of people to try out this chatbot. And that apparently yielded 250,000 conversations and got them 30K in incremental revenue. So if you just think about, we were conditioned during COVID, like you're at home, you're trying to shop online. Now everyone's back in the stores. This is a really nice bridge to those two things where you can use AI and chatbots to answer questions that your customers have got to help them make that purchase decision. A lot of people use these whilst in the store. Yes, they can't get hold of somebody to ask them a question, so they actually go onto the chatbot while they're in Sephora. So it's not just to be done at home and online. Okay, the next, I think, very exciting thing to look out for is a new way of doing search. So you may have heard of this already. So this is Google's search generative experience. And this is Google trying to elevate your search experience from what it is at the moment, which is pretty static, right? You put your search query into Google, where's the nearest restaurant to me, for example. You'll get your ads, you'll get your organic results. There might be shopping results in there at the moment as well. What they've started rolling out, and they started doing this towards the end of last year in the US, is generative AI to give you a more full experience. So I'll share this in a video in a second, but they're giving you kind of groups of topics and summarizing the key things that are on a website, and they're reducing the need for you to do a second separate search. So they're encouraging you to ask follow-up questions. So it's much more like a conversation. So it's much more like if I said to my neighbor, what are the best restaurants to go to around this neighborhood? And she would say, well, you've got this restaurant, it's like this restaurant, it's like this, and this one like this. And I'm like, okay, that third one, how expensive is it? And then she'd give me the details. So it's kind of doing the same thing. It's like having a conversation. Right, let me share the video with you.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa. Move fast, move slow. Catch me on a roll. Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
You got this. Let's go.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? And the answer is
Yes.
no.
Yes.
No.
I'ma make 'em talk like whoa, 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 whoa. I'ma make 'em talk like.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa.
So very different in terms of how we're going to be experiencing search, right? So if I was going to search for some recipes for some chocolate chip cookies, this is what I would see, right? So you've got 3 suggested results there and 3 more over here. And it's given me a little summary of what each one of those is. And then it's added some extra tips. So it's given me context then, as if we're having a chat, like actually, what would be really helpful for you to know is you need to chill the dough, for example, or make one batch at a time. So the search engine results page is going to look very different. And then this is what happens next. So you can ask a follow-up question and it suggests follow-up questions as well. So what is the secret to a perfect cookie, right? Or what chocolate chips are best for doing this? So based on all the information it's got in its algorithm and its AI learning system, it will come up with suggested next questions. So the thought process behind this in terms of customer experience is it's giving you a much more fulfilling and richer experience when you're doing a search. Now, this is all very well, but how is this going to impact our marketing? So what are we going to do then to make sure that we're still appearing on search? Is this going to throw out everything that we already know about search engine optimization? And I think, first of all, the good news is that the theory about writing content that is helpful and useful and answers people's questions is absolutely a priority. So if you're writing content to trick the algorithm or stuff in your keywords, that's definitely not going to work now. If you're already writing content that people find useful and helpful, that is going to be brilliant. That's exactly what you need to do. So focus on that. The website favicon, so you can see if I go back a page here, right? So your little logo, that becomes important because it comes up in every single one of the searches. Featured images here. So you choose when you do an article or a blog or put on some new content, what your featured image is. Again, that is what your customer will now see. So important that you get the right ones. The title and the excerpt at the top are important. And then how we're writing text, and this comes into play in other areas as well. We'll talk about this in the last section when we come to relevancy, is conversational text is going to work well. So for example, if I was going to do this for my business, I might say, you know, are you struggling to do your marketing funnel? Question mark. Yeah, because that's the question that I would ask you if I was face to face. You know, these are some things that you could consider. So I'm writing as if I'm talking. So that's going to come across well if Google is pulling out content to answer a conversational search. Yeah, so that would be the main sort of shift in the way that we're writing this content. Now, that also works for the other trend with AI, which is the huge rise in people using voice assistants to do search. So Siri, Google Assistant, etc. Yeah. So we've known this for a while. So this is about using longer words, longer tail keywords in your content so that you come up in search when people speak a search because they use more words. Yeah, if I was going to look for local restaurants, I would just say restaurants in Bukit Timah. If I'm going to speak that search into Siri or Google Assistant or Alexa, I'm going to use loads more words to ask for that same query. So we need to make sure we're including that stuff in our content. Okay. So longest section, no surprise, is on AI. The next section we're going to talk about is the importance of first-party data. Again, not necessarily new news if you've been following this. So Google's been threatening to remove third-party cookies for some time. Apparently, it was going to happen midway through last year. Then it was the end of last year. Now, what they're saying from this article, which was on the 4th of January, is 100% they'll be gone by Q3 2024. Don't hold me to that because that might change. They've already started rolling out restricting third-party cookies to 1% of Chrome users globally. And obviously, they're going to roll that out as we go through the year. So what does that mean? So a third-party cookie is a piece of code that sits on somebody's laptop or computer, which basically can track, you know, what websites they're looking at, what content they're reading. And from a marketing perspective, we've used this to retarget people. So for example, if I'd seen that you'd gone to my website and you'd had a look at it for a couple of minutes, right? I could do an ad on Meta, on Facebook or Instagram to target anybody that's been on my website for longer than a certain period of time, target them with an ad. Yeah, so that's a good tactic in terms of marketing because you know that person's interested in your brand and your product. Now, the reason they're going away is all around privacy and data protection and the fact that we don't want people to track our activity on a website and what we're doing on the internet. So that's why they're being phased out. But this is actually going to have quite huge implications for your business and your marketing. So things that we use third-party cookies for would be behavioral targeting. So I just spoke about that. So targeting people that look at certain websites or retargeting people that have been on your website. Yeah. The other thing, I know I use this one a lot, is by doing a lookalike audience when you're doing your social media advertising. So that's targeting people that look like your existing audience. So we can't track that anymore. And programmatic ad buying. So again, this relies on data from users across the internet in terms of what they've looked at, what ads they've clicked on. So we won't have any of that information, theoretically, if they keep to their timings by Q3 of this year. So what that means is if we want to be targeted predominantly in our advertising when we're doing marketing, then we need to use our own data. So data that we have. So you can get data via your email list, through surveys, through feedback, through points or reward systems. You have asked for that person's permission to hold their data. You can use that first-party data as part of your marketing because you own that data. But you can't get that data from an external source from your business. So that's the key things that are going to impact us. Now, obviously, Google have a solution for this because a lot of their advertising and that of Meta is done through retargeting of people that have already shown an interest in your website and your products and services. So they've come up with this concept called Privacy Sandbox. So I'll share their video for you now.
We all want to feel safe and secure on the internet. That's why Google is leading an industry-wide effort to make the web and Android more private. It's called the Privacy Sandbox. Let's explain how we got here. The internet is a free source of information for billions of people. We've watched it evolve from a place we go to seek answers for everyday questions to a rich resource that works to make your life easier. Now, sites and apps remember your logins for you, hold those boots you've been eyeing in your shopping cart, and show you the latest news related to your interests. The free and accessible internet we're used to is only possible because sites and apps can make money and fund their business through advertising. However, some of the tools used to show ads and power the way the web currently works are due for an overhaul. Today, third-party cookies and other identifiers make it possible to track your activity across sites and apps, and your data can be shared more widely than you would like. The Privacy Sandbox technologies will offer sites and apps alternative ways to show you personalized ads, while keeping your personal information more private and minimizing how much data is collected about you. You will also have more control of how your data is used in the ads you see, and ultimately be protected from tracking you aren't aware of. This is an open source initiative developed in close collaboration with web and mobile app developers. Transitioning the internet to new, more private technology is a big collective undertaking. We're working together to keep it a valuable source of free information for all, today and in the future.
There we go. So this is what you'll see as a consumer, basically. So you've got complete control over which ads you see. So you can have a look at the ad topics. You can switch them off, basically. So you can turn off, like, I don't want to see ads about holidays, or I don't want to see ads about shoes, for example. And you can turn that off, and you can turn off specific topics and keep other ones on. You can see what advertisers can see about you, and you can see what settings have been switched on so they can suggest site-specific ads when you're on someone's website as well. So the theory behind this is to protect people's data, not to share as much information, but really to make it more transparent, right? So that people know what data has been shared about them. So you will still be able to do some level of retargeting if it's allowed by the consumer. If they've toggled this on, you'll still be able to target them. So in terms of marketing, I'd very much encourage you to kind of think about your data that you own on your customers and people you've got on your email list, for example, because that's your inventory, that's your media vehicle to get to them, and you have hopefully got them to opt into the fact that you can send them marketing messages. Okay. Now, the last topic is prioritizing relevancy and experience. So this year, it's all about being relevant and showing up in creative ways. So as a marketing executive or marketing professional, you'll need to know what platforms matter to your customers. So where are they? and you need to show up in relevant and creative ways. Now, this is more important than ever because of AI. So what we're seeing at the moment is this huge spike in the amount of content that has been created by brands and businesses. And this has meant that we're kind of drowning in a sea of information, and we're trying to stand out within that sea of content that your customers are kind of swimming around in. So to do that, we need to be relevant. Yeah, we need to answer the questions that they want answered. So we need to focus on still driving an emotional response through connection, but it needs to be different. You need to be original. So there was a survey done at the beginning of this year and it showed that 35% of people found digital marketing efforts from different brands. They couldn't differentiate between which brands that were showing them what, which is terrible. So that says to me that a lot of people are using AI, and a couple of shortcuts maybe to just shove out loads and loads of content just so that they can be seen. They're trying to play the algorithm game in terms of, yes, I'm here and here's my keywords and they're all included. But actually the value of that content isn't great. Yeah. So if you can provide value to your customers, and this has been the same for ever since I've started working, teaching marketing anyway, that, you know, answering questions that your customers want answered, adding value, helping them make that purchase decision. That's always going to put you head and shoulders above your competitors. Now, I've included this in here. This isn't new, but I've included it in here because I think it's going to be more relevant this year. So this is Google's EAT model, which basically dictates their algorithm for search. And it was launched, I think, about 18 months ago. And then a new E, which is experience, was added towards the end of 2022. Now, I think this is really important. So what Google is saying is they will show your content to consumers if you've got authority, if you're trustworthy, and if you've got a level of expertise. Yeah, so you can get all these things across using AI. And the other one that they added then more recently is about having first-hand experience. So this is about injecting some personality, getting your personality as a business owner, a founder, a solopreneur across, that you can't do that using AI. So they want that. They want you to show your experience. They want you to come across as different. So AI can't replace your real world experience. Yeah, so I'm a huge advocate for using AI to make your life easier in terms of marketing, but make sure you're in control. You're guiding that process and you're inputting your brand voice, your goals, how you want to speak, what the key points are you want to get across in your content, and you're editing that so you know that that's giving value to your consumer. Yeah, you can't get that from AI alone. You need to layer in your real world experience on there. So some things that you can do, so you can share your first-hand experience. So if you're a coach or a speaker or a trainer, you can refer back to things that you've done that you found that have worked or haven't worked. Maximize your credentials, so make sure you're really clear why you are qualified to talk about this subject. Make yourself accessible. Yeah, so make yourself available to people to answer questions. Encourage word of mouth referrals. Definitely try and get your content in established publications. Yes, add that stamp of authority. So you could be listed in a business directory. You could speak as part of a network, for example, and look to share your expertise. So share them freely as opposed to having that as gated content. Okay, so wrapping up there with these three trends. So we've looked at rethinking the role of AI, going past just looking at content, the importance of first-party data with the phasing out of third-party cookies. And then lastly, they're looking at that kind of sea of content that we're seeing being generated at the moment and making sure we're prioritizing relevancy and experience. So I hope you found that useful. As I say, any questions, please do drop me a message. You can message me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, or you can drop me an email as well. Before I go, I just wanted to highlight my course that's starting next Friday, so Friday the 2nd of Feb, which is my 6-week AI-powered content marketing course. So this is getting the foundations right for your AI. So it's learning to use AI as your content marketing assistant, feeding it your brand voice, coming up with content ideas, writing blogs, creating videos, writing social media posts, the whole lot. So do get in contact if you'd like to join that program. It's online. It's 1.5 hours most Fridays. And then we have like a WhatsApp group, so you can ask questions in between as well. And generally, just a reminder of the services that I provide. So I do marketing audits, so I can look at your current setup of your website and your social media channels, and I can see how they're performing and recommend how you can improve your marketing efforts. I do marketing mentorship and coaching, where I can chat you through how you can grow your business. And I also offer training in these subjects. Mainly at the moment, it's all about AI, no surprise there, and also LinkedIn. They're my two kind of key topics that I'm training on at the moment. So thank you so much for listening to this webinar. I hope you found that useful. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.